for helping highlight some of the issues that we have with this agreement with as a people of Nairobi. As you've rightly stated, the governor, our role here is to protect the interests of the counties and their governments. Your government, I will protect your government, even though I did not vote for you. And it doesn't matter who is in the office. It is a responsibility of the Senate to protect that government. Governor, you have seen yourself. We can argue about subjectivity or objectivity of public participation if it has happened prior to a project or prior to an agreement. But it is honestly an objective mishap for you to enter into the agreement prior to participation of people being undertaken. That is an objective criticism that it has been done before. If you did it before and then people were ferried or people affected opinion, that is a subjective conversation that can be had. But you must admit that this agreement is fraught with very serious legal landmines. And when we say these things, it's not to say we don't want the money. Governor, you have thrown the challenge to us saying, when we pass the county government's allocation, we should include this 80 billion that the president. How are we supposed to know that the president was willing to give us this money, or that the national government had this money for Nairobi anyway? It arose from conversations that you had. And unfortunately, the problem we are saying we have is that those conversations were private conversations. We were not privy to those conversations. If it were me, I would give proper advice to the president and tell him, oh, by the way, if that money is there, please let us put it through the additional allocations and we will still get it. And the money comes straight to your government, for you to be able to do these things. Some of us still believe that the Nairobi County government can still collect trash, because this one is an admission that we need Musalia supervising collection of trash in Nairobi, which is what doesn't sit well with many of us. I want to dissuade you because, Chair, just let me point out that we actually are age mates. We come from the same generation and we want a different conversation in this country. I want to dissuade you from these arguments of Bora tumefanya. Talanta Stadium is there. It doesn't matter whether the Auditor General was, the Auditor General has raised questions, whether the AG was consulted with the public procurement laws were followed with. I understand also the exasperation of our people. Our people don't care which level of government has built a bridge if the bridge needs to be built. But as a generation, we want to raise the bar, Governor. It can still be done through the law. And this is the demonstration that I wanted us to do as a Senate. This is the advice that we're giving. Governor, this thing is fraught with legal landmines. Shelve it and let us start afresh. Now that we know the idea is there, don't be shy publishing a notice like you've done in other projects in the city, saying we are thinking of doing this. Share a draft with the assembly, with your senator, with the public, and then let people engage, collect views. Say, after the publication of the draft, Nairobians have said, Mr. President, that we can do this through this and this and this. Incorporate those things, because public participation, as I've said, cannot be something that is cosmetic. We must see our views, whatever those views are, reflected in the final document. Please shelve this thing and let us start afresh. Tell the president, now that we know he has 80 billion for us, let him send it through the appropriations in the National Assembly. Let it come through the county government's additional allocation, just the way we send money for KIPES and for construction of the county headquarters. We want a transfer of all functions to Nairobi County government. You have quoted by late party leader. I agree with you. He was of the opinion that we do not need Kera and Kura running around Nairobi. Show the capacity to absorb the money, the budgets that Kura and Kera have. Let us have this money, because as you said, when there's a blockage on Ojijoro, nobody knows who to call other than the county government of Nairobi and the governor of Nairobi. We as a Senate have fought that fight with you. In fact, the last time, Governor, if you are going to be honest, it is the COG that abandoned the Senate in the fight for RMLA. They came before us and told us this is a fight we're going to fight together. Listen, you go and you might attend there in that address that some of us don't visit, and you agree on something else, and the next thing we know, there is a compromise in the case. It has never been the fault of the Senate. We who believe in the purity of the Constitution and that devolved functions must come to the county governments, we will continue to push that. In my other capacity, there is a document that I defend, the MOU that was signed between the president and the late Raila Odinga. We put a clause there on the unbundling of all functions. We have only 2 more weeks to go, Governor. That has not happened. Leave that to us. We will fight for you. But please also insist on following the law, and we will be fine. Lastly, Chair, We in the Senate passed something called a disbursement schedule. It is one of the most useless pieces of legislation that we engage in passing as a Senate. I have protested even on the floor of the House because the National Treasury never follows its disbursement schedule. Let us fight that fight for you, Governor. We understand that some of the problems that we face in the counties is because it is unpredictable. You can't know. Your finance officer there cannot know when the money is going to come in. We in the Senate say 15th of every month, Treasury must release all this money. We have a man in Treasury who, anyway, I don't want to go that direction. But we have argued as a Senate that the National Treasury sometimes believes and behaves like it is a national government treasury and not a treasury that is supposed to fight and serve all levels of government. So we will do our part, Governor, but please, please, it is possible to govern this country in accordance with the law. Let us not have this policy of the end justifying the means. That is the reason why the Constitution exists. It's not a stumbling block. The Constitution is not an what is it called? It's not an obstacle or unnecessary, what is the word? It's not an unnecessary impediment to the achievement of progress. In fact, every single thing that we do has to be done in accordance with this Constitution. So with those many remarks, Governor, I want to advise you that it is possible for us to achieve what we want to achieve. Now that we know that money is there, allow us to get it for you in the most legal and constitutional way. Otherwise, with these challenges in court, without public participation, many projects and things have been struck down on that account alone. And I can tell you that you are looking at that very prospect. I thank you, Honorable Chair. Okay.